Hello and welcome to Going for a Twix, the #1 Thick of It podcast. My name is Tom Dunstan, and joining me as always is my good friend and co-host, the Hugh to my Glenn, Mr. Adam Taylor.
Hello everyone.
Second episode. What do you reckon of this one then? Overall?
Joe, I really enjoyed this one. I think this is one where, Joe, I'm going to say, I think Glenn shines.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's got quite a few of the best lines in the whole episode.
Well, I didn't really plan for this, but I have a problem with almost everything you've just said. In my opinion, this is the worst episode in the series, and Glenn is a bit of a prick in this.
All right, to be fair, I'll give you this. I don't really go back to this one. But then I think that might well be just because I don't really go back to most of series one.
Yeah, it is a very different show in the first series than it is in the third series in, let's call it its heyday now. I don't know why we start this podcast. We have to start this podcast first series, first episode, obviously. But it also happens to be the worst episodes and therefore very difficult to make a podcast out of.
Absolutely, yeah. They're still sort of finding their feet, aren't they? But I mean, I think there's still some gold.
Yeah, but there's a lot of rough to find the diamonds in. I feel like in the third series, just diamonds. So many diamonds. It's like a bloody Shirley Bassey song.
Shirley Bassey song, all South Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, even. So we start the episode with some horrible comments written in the newspaper about Hugh, calling him out of his debt, saying he's disconnected to the point of autism. I presume that this is just what you get when you're a cabinet minister.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think they lay it on a bit thick. I can't imagine a commentator really saying all this kind of.
Yeah.
But then I don't know what's in the Mail and the Express and all that. But I think particularly rubbing it in when something like describing as the political equivalent of a house wine at a suburban Indian restaurant. I mean, that takes some imagination.
Yeah, I don't understand how they manage to get so witty all of a sudden, all these people. Because usually, if you look at your Julia Hartley Brewers today, it's not usually that funny.
You're telling me that everything that comes out of her mouth isn't pure gold, isn't insightful political commentary into...
I'd say personally it's pure brown. But I only have this, I'd say, almost lovely, heartwarming moment where Malcolm gets really pissed off about someone having a go at Hugh. I feel like in this episode, there's a lot of ups and downs in terms of whether Malcolm's any good at his job. And I think this is definitely one of the ups where he shows, I'm going to go to bat for a minister who I don't particularly like or have much respect for.
It's weird. Do you know, I think this episode, you see Malcolm's temper almost working against him. When he's actually sort of almost maybe on the right track. He's perhaps doing, we saw in the last episode how he was essentially at fault for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this time, the misunderstandings that happen in the episode, I think his greatest enemy at this point is himself.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say this is the most inconsistent that we've seen Malcolm, and we'll ever see Malcolm in this series.
Yeah, definitely. But that doesn't mean we don't get any good Tucker.
Oh, you do get some good. We'll get on to them later. And so we move on to the next part of the episode, which is policy.
The formation of the policy.
Yeah. So in order to get back at Simon Hewitt, the man who writes the horrible article about Hugh, they come up with two different policies, both exactly contradictory. Ollie decides we'll give more money to the bad kids for arts and music, and Glenn decides to take all the money away from the bad kids. Now, this is the part where I think Glenn's been a bit of a prick, because I think we see him in later episodes and later series being very compassionate and very nice, whereas this is a bit sort of Tory policy for such a heavily Labour man as he claims he is.
Well, I think this is Glenn showing his age a little bit. Perhaps, in a time when you wouldn't the approach giving children with behavioural problems access to the arts and creative aspects. He is showing his age. I mean, at the same time, I'm not saying that eventually he gets proven right. But
we don't know if he's right because they don't ever put that in the papers.
Yeah, and to be fair, they don't really even show us what happens in the focus group when Ollie brings up Glenn's idea. We just know that Ollie's idea does not go down well.
Yeah, we do know. To be fair, it goes down well in the focus group.
Yeah, but there may be a reason for that.
I just want to shine a quick headlight on Ollie's reaction when he's told that Angela Heaney's coming in to do a piece with Hugh, which is him just going. This is really humorising Ollie. I remember we talked about him in the last episode. I think he said, if your mate said half the things he did, you chin him.
Yeah.
But I think we missed out Ollie's most defining feature, which is his spinelessness.
Yeah, just his ability to bend to whatever Malcolm and the department sort of decides.
It would be sad if he wasn't so much of a prick.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah, I think that's the key to it. I mean, usually I feel sorry for someone like that, but because it's Ollie and because he just sort of takes it.
And then he's not very nice to people who he does have rank over. I think it is worth it.
Exactly, yeah, when he's dishing out some of the lines that he is to the people that he works with.
And then we get this brand new trait for Hugh Abbott. I think one that everyone could assume from watching the first episode, but not confirmed until now, which is he's completely hopeless at pop culture. I feel like this is a really old sitcom joke where the old white guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, I mean, the thing is, this sort of period of politics, this is when this all started to matter, isn't it? You know, when you catch Tory politicians out for not knowing how much a loaf of bread is or a pint of milk. And let's face it, it's fucking funny when you don't.
Yeah,
Because,
that's
I mean, how can any normal person not know?
I understand not knowing the price of bread or not knowing the price of milk being embarrassing, but Malcolm shows him an episode of The Bill. I've never watched an episode of The Bill. I don't even know what The Bill is.
That is true, yeah. No, I would have much more of a problem with someone expecting me to know The Bill because...
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. It's The Bill. I thought that was essentially famous for just being the training ground for one or two good actors, and then the rest who languish on the BBC circuit for the rest of their career.
Fair play to people who write The Bill because they managed to get a lot of money for making absolute shite. It reminds me of, do you remember when they did that with Jeremy Corbyn during the Labour leadership election?
Oh, don't get me started. No, I know exactly what. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh no, have I triggered you?
Yeah. Do you remember who they asked him to?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I can't remember who he said, but didn't they show him a picture of Taylor Swift?
That was Owen Smith, and he got it. He said that was Taylor Swift.
Oh,
Jeremy Corbyn couldn't name Ant and Dec, possibly two of the most famous people in the country.
I mean, to be
British
fair,
people.
Jeremy Corbyn's down his allotment, isn't he?
Well, yeah,
Can't be bothered to be watching TV.
exactly. You
He's got
show him
Marrow's to make.
you show him his prize-winning Marrow from 2004. He's got that on lock.
To be fair, I don't think many British people know who Jeremy Corbyn's Marrow is, and that's not a euphemism. I want to make that clear.
No, we're still waiting for that link from his clan.
I don't think Jeremy Corbyn's starting up an OnlyFans anytime soon.
Well, I mean, he's not the leader anymore, and you never know when he'll be retiring as an MP. All I'm saying is a lot of people would pay for it. Although that would be Jeremy Corbyn. Imagine if Ed Miliband started an OnlyFans.
That would be definitely different.
It wouldn't even need to upload sexual content. It would just be
Pictures of his face.
yeah. Do you remember when the Extinction Rebellion forced their way into Parliament to show their asses off in the lobby?
No.
No?
Is this a thing that
It
happens?
was a thing, yeah, it was like a protest, I don't know, at the end of the planet or something, you know, something frivolous like that.
What are they protesting?
It's Extinction Rebellion, isn't it? Middle class people laying in the road to stop the end of the planet.
But what does showing your ass prove?
Well, I mean, it got my attention. I think it got the press's attention as well. But it got Ed Miliband's attention, which is why I bring it up. You've seen him react to that.
No. What?
You just see this look of just pure, almost shock and outrage. And then the next picture I saw was him looking the other way, reevaluating his life choices. Poor man.
I have so many questions, but I'll have to save them for another time.
I'll have to show you. Yeah.
And so then we get the focus group.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the episode.
Move back. Then we get the focus group, and we see that Ollie has put both policies to the focus group, both the give money, be compassionate Labour one, and the steal money with bastards Tory one. And the one that Ollie says has done very well is his. So we'll give a lot of money to the bad kids, we'll help them out. And what I find interesting, he goes straight to Mary. How does he describe her? He describes her as a focus group legend.
Yeah. Everything that she said has been on point with
Middle England.
Middle England, yeah.
Was that a particular area that they were trying to get hold of back in 2005?
Oh, I mean, I want to say that was essentially Tony Blair's whole thing, wasn't it? You could appeal to people to whom socialism was all scary and, you know, they just wanted to keep to themselves in there.
He was the cool kid socialist.
Yeah, he wasn't really a socialist.
Yeah.
I don't know. To be fair, I don't know enough about New Labour.
The poor man socialist.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair.
They do need socialists, poor men.
Yeah. The middle class man socialist.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to explain it.
Yeah. But I think that was it. It was in Middle England. It was like people who go to church and have savings, a house, scared by nationalisation and gays.
Only have butter on their toast, have a lemon and herb at Nando's, missionary sex, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So what I find interesting about this is, I've written it down here, Ollie says there was a 94% approval rate for his policy in the focus group, but he won't stop talking about Mary. Surely if it's a 94%, that's good enough anyway.
I know, and I think this feeds into something that they say later on in the episode, when the problems go down. I'm sure we'll get to it. Perhaps they'll save it for then. But to be fair, there's sort of a bit of an inconsistency. I think that sort of heads off a problem towards the end.
I do think, because we'll get into it, but Mary's the start of a lot of problems. But it does feel like she doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they focus on her so much. I understand she's Middle England, but surely 94% from the whole group is better.
Exactly. Well, the problem sort of arises from the fact that they treat her as, the Tracy of the focus group, I think we call it. That is essentially true. She represents the views of 94% of the focus group. Although I think there is a sort of throwaway line where Ollie sort of says, oh yeah, well, most of the focus group just agree with what she says.
Yeah, but then later in the episode, they give Malcolm reports saying 94% agree with them. I don't think it's inconceivable Ollie could have faked something so that they'd go along with Mary's idea, but they haven't made that clear in the episode anyway.
No, I don't think they made it clear. I'm just sort of wondering how many people in the focus group agreed with the policy because Mary did.
I suppose that is a big possibility, yeah.
But it's just, but that's the thing. I don't know when you can conjure up 94% approval. I mean, who's ever had that before?
Yeah, 94% approval is only exclusively reserved for Pixar films.
Not Toy Story 3. Didn't know what it did.
I like Toy Story 3.
No, I can't be forgiven them for that scene near the foot. But yeah, they know what they did.
It's alright, it's alright. Before we move on to the next part of the episode, I just want to highlight a little bit of what I was talking about last week, which is Terry hatred. Unjust Terry hatred. She's shit. She's a box ticker. She's built a box inside the box and she's doing her thinking inside of that. This is just not on. She's doing a good job in this episode. If they listened to Terry, they wouldn't be in the problem they end up in. But they decide to scapegoat her and say that she's shit.
You know, I had sort of forgotten Terry in these first few episodes. She's just on the periphery, isn't she? They just exclude her all the time. It's like when they're running around. What does Glenn say? Like, pull up books, 14 meeting rooms to keep her off them. Another classic Glenn line.
I said last time we're doing a tally. We're not doing a tally for that. That's not going on the list.
It's such a good name. He's like, yeah, she'll never find it. I'll plot book 14 meeting rooms.
Unfortunately for you, this podcast is a dictatorship, not a democracy.
No, they really do have a low opinion of her, don't they?
Yeah.
And they keep her on the periphery for these couple of episodes.
What I think the reason is because they keep having shit ideas, and Terry keeps telling them that idea is shit. And they go, fuck you, Terry, what do you know? My idea's amazing. And then they do it, and it goes awful. And they say, well, what was that, Terry? You should have done better. Why aren't you better?
No, yeah, there's a bit where she goes on about, can we stop making policy on the hoof, please?
Yeah.
There's a lot of on the hoof. Can there just be some sitting down involved?
And if they listen to Terry, they win a much better place.
Yeah, maybe someone's trying to make a point. I don't know.
This might become a regular feature, the Justice for Terry feature. I hope not. I hope she gets treated a bit better in the coming episodes, but I doubt it.
I think the usefulness of Terry sort of starts to decline after this series.
Yeah. I think as we go into the Nicola Murray era, as it's known, starts to go down. She becomes mischaracterized, that's what I'm saying. But in these early episodes, she's still the best civil servant in all of DOSA. So then we get the revelation that Ollie's policy is shit, and everyone in the papers hates it.
Yeah. We see Malcolm, he's plugged into the Matrix, he knows. The first editions haven't even gone to bed.
I did write down, I think this is the first time we've seen Malcolm's full power in the series. He's obviously very good with telling people, no, he did announce it last time. But this is him being able to see the papers before anyone else can see them.
This is when you see just how embedded he is in sort of the journalism world as much as the politics world.
I think it's the first time we see, you hear a lot about Malcolm, I think it's the first time you see what he's probably capable of.
Yeah, because I mean, even in the last episode, he says, doesn't he, when he's threatening Angela Heaney, he says, I'd call every editor I know, which is obviously all of them. You sort of get the feeling that, that is true. He's seen all of the papers.
So after all the newspapers have come out and said that they hate it, Malcolm gives the order to pull the plug, and was it to never announce the policy or pretend it didn't exist or something like that?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because they just say kill it. I don't understand what that means in real terms. I feel like Malcolm talks a lot in sort of aggressive, nondescript vaguisms.
At that stage, they just want to kill the policy, don't they? After seeing the paper's reaction.
Just get rid of it. I don't care how you do it. Just do it.
Although, to be fair, considering what happens later and some of the things that are said later, I was under the impression that Malcolm is sort of able to get it off the papers.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Well, he does say later that he's good, but he's not that good, referring to stopping another piece. So I don't know how good he is in this respect.
Well, I think that's because it's a bit later, and it's a story that they've sort of leaked themselves.
I think in any case, it doesn't go public, or if it does go public, it's no longer a thing, and they manage to get out of it somehow.
Yeah, the government have essentially distanced themselves.
But yeah, in this respect, I feel that it dodged a bullet, yeah.
Yeah, Malcolm's done his thing.
And then we get Simon Hewitt ringing up Malcolm and saying he's doing a piece on focus groups.
This seemed like such the pettiest call, didn't it?
If Malcolm is as powerful as he says he is, I don't understand why Simon Hewitt's allowed to ring up and talk shit to his face, or to his phone mouth face.
His phone face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that is all the call is for, isn't it? It's literally 30 seconds to be like, yeah, I'm doing a thing on your focus group, fuck up.
Yeah. So I feel if Malcolm's as powerful as he says he is, surely he should be able to get him fired or tell him to fuck off at least. Well, he does tell him to fuck off, but...
You'd think, but then maybe when you get an antagonistic editor like that, there's just nothing that he can do.
Maybe. And I feel like this is the first time I see Malcolm lose in a verbal match with someone. Because I've written down what he says, fuck off back to your match reports, you twat. I do kind of feel like that's really weak in comparison to what Hewitt said to him. He's saying, I'm going to take down Hugh. And he really hasn't got anything to come back to that. And the way that Peter Capaldi delivers the line makes him sound really desperate.
well, I think this is Malcolm's temper coming into it. You know, I mean, I think we think of Malcolm as this sort of all-knowing, all-seeing being who can just control the papers and the ministers with, you know, a crack of the whip. But I think when
the all-swearing eye, they refer to him as.
exactly, you know, it's Sauron. But I think at this point, when he sort of realizes he's lost, yeah, the temper starts to kick in. Yeah, fuck off, phone down. Well, fuck, now I've got to sort this somehow.
So after that, everything's peachy key. There are rainbows in the sky, little children are laughing, the pubs are open, and they're £1 Jaeger bombs. And then Hugh
That is Toy Story 3.
Hugh is given a videotape of all popular culture, including the bill.
Ah, yeah, this has sort of been a subplot running through the whole thing, hasn't it? That Hugh isn't clued up.
And that he needs the tape to tell him what popular culture is, what's going on.
Exactly, because the Prime Minister, he genuinely seems with it. No, he also uses phrases like with it.
Then he's watching the tape and he discovers that Mary is an actress.
Well, obviously, Malcolm doesn't know what she looks like, though, does she? Or even at this stage know that it's just been Mary's opinion that they've used to launch the policy.
And then we see Hugh, I'd say rightly freaking out that he's based his policy on the back of an actress's opinion. But I did look this up. I couldn't find any record of this being a thing. Because Ollie says, oh, it's normal. This is what they usually do, is you chuck an actress in there. But I couldn't find anyone saying that's what they do. And it seems like a weird thing to do anyway. You couldn't find 12 people paying them $5 to sit around and talk about their opinions.
Weird you say that, because I did just sort of take it at face value that they did that.
I mean, they might do it, and my Googling skills might be shy. But I couldn't find any record of them doing it.
4 years of uni.
I didn't do modern Googling, did I? And then I think we have a really weird moment where Hugh tells Glenn, and they start freaking out. And then they tell Ollie, and Ollie goes, yeah, sometimes they stick actresses in. He's completely unfazed by it. I think that's really weird. Not just because he knows they sometimes put actresses in there, but being told that Mary is an actress, he still doesn't care.
Yeah. Even though you hear... And this is where it came in earlier, where the 94% sort of rattled me a little bit, because you see earlier Malcolm saying, yeah, sometimes they stick an actress in, it's fine. But, you know, focus group. That's why it doesn't matter. Keyword, group. And then obviously that's when Hugh has the meltdown. But then the 94% of the group agreed. Maybe it shouldn't matter that much.
Yeah. I think Ollie's acted really weirdly and almost stupidly here. Knowing that actresses are in there, picking out a woman, not checking she's an actress, and then being told she's an actress, just going, yeah, so what?
Maybe he's sticking to his guns. Never explain, never apologise.
So then we have Hugh having a massive meltdown. Absolutely losing it.
I mean, we talked down this episode, but I love this bit.
I presume we will get onto that in the later bits. Then Malcolm suddenly leaps to the fact that Mary is Hewitt's mole and giving him the story, and therefore we must leak it to Angela Heaney right now. I understand the logic there, thinking, well, he's just done a focus group and now Hewitt's doing a piece on his focus group. It's probably someone in that focus group and Mary's an actress. But it does seem a bit rash to jump straight into it and decide, fuck it, we'll give it all to Angela Heaney right now.
Yeah, I mean, it does strike me as a sort of real heat of the moment thing. Yeah, again, maybe that's just Malcolm's temper sort of flaring, you know, the rational side kicking in. Oh, screw it. She's the mole. Get her in. We'll sort her out.
Do you think he's panicking? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Especially since they're clearly on a schedule. They're trying to stop the papers going out. And they're trying to get on top of the next day's news. And seeing as they've already sort of killed the policy, I assume that it's been taken off the front pages. If Hewitt's thing is going out, because I think they say that Hewitt's going out from a couple of days from now. So they want to get something out before that. So he's essentially gone before the papers go to press that night. And obviously it is pretty late at this point.
Yeah. I think this might be the most human we ever see Malcolm, because I think in other situations where bad things happen, he's got a limited time to do it, he just gets angry.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, you actually see him panic. He's actually vulnerable.
You see him panic, and then in a couple of scenes afterwards, because obviously they bring Mary in for a little midnight chat, like them Bob. There are a couple of lines where it almost seems like Malcolm can't sort of control himself. He just sort of, almost on impulse, is trying to work his temper out.
I will say this, I feel like this sequence got a very nice dichotomy between Malcolm. The part we already talked about, obviously, where he's very vulnerable and very panicked. But there's also, at the start of it, I feel like a bit where Peter Capaldi delivers his lines with the greatest amount of Machiavellian malice we ever see in the series.
Nice.
Particularly the lines where he says, "It might be covered, Hugh."
He goes, no.
Hugh, we have to sort this out. Those two lines are just scary.
Yeah.
They fill you with dread.
I mean, they're scary. Honestly, the emotion that came to the fore when I was listening to them is almost, it's like just a parent who's done come out of the cupboard. We've got to sort this out.
I think that's definitely there. And so then we have Mary being brought in for a late night chat with Malcolm, Glenn, Ollie, and Hugh. And he's a bit sort of weird and creepy. They try and chide her into telling her this information, giving them the numbers, whatever it is.
Yeah, because Hugh's there. He lets everyone know he's good with people. She'll see our point of view. We'll be able to work something out. I don't know whether he sort of meant for the conversation to go the way it did. You get to the point where he's accusing her of inventing children.
Yeah, that is quite an unhinged moment for Hugh, I feel.
Yeah, the tone of the conversation changes pretty quickly from, oh, you can understand, this is all just a big mix-up, to, you've invented children. You invented 2 little children.
He really turns on a dime. And also, I don't know why Hugh's so upset about that, because that's what actors do.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was just trying to put her on the back foot.
It's possible. If he thought, oh, she wouldn't invent children, I don't understand why he was worried about her being an actress then. I thought the whole point he's worried about her being an actress is that she wasn't telling the truth.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think that is the case. I just think he was trying to do something to her almost.
Do you think this is like sort of weird interrogation tactics?
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, you invented 2 children. But I assumed you would at least have children, even if you weren't a single mother. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully looking for her to crack first.
Maybe.
I don't know. Trying to get into the mind of Hugh Abbott is an interesting exercise.
And then we have the M. Night Shyamalan twist for this episode. Mary never went to Hewitt.
She wasn't the leak in the first place.
But therefore, what this implies is Hewitt was doing a piece on focus groups coincidentally at the same time that Hugh was using a focus group.
I don't know. I guess just maybe he heard that he was using a focus group and wanted to put the boot in for Hugh so much that he just thought, wow, he's used one. I'll just say that he's used loads.
Maybe. I feel like one of the scenarios in this is he's got a mole inside the focus group that doesn't happen to Mary, in which case Angela Heaney's probably the right person to leak it to. Because you still get to put the boot into Hewitt. Or other times he might just be doing it coincidentally, in which case it's very weird timing. So almost unbelievable timing.
Yeah, well, you just never know how much these journalists know. Senior government source, unnamed Whitehall source. I imagine it's a small step just for a journalist to find out whether a journalist, just a small step for them to see what policies are going through, focus groups being used. Yeah, well, so then Mary leaves, and then the group slowly comes to the realization that they have just sort of leaked the story that Mary's an actress, completely at their own accord.
Red faces all around.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them from embarrassment, some of them from just pure rage.
Exactly. I think Malcolm's off to bed. Hugh is also off to bed, even though it's a sofa in the office for about 3 hours.
I feel like I felt a similar feeling because I was up last night till 3 o'clock trying to buy a PlayStation 5. And at some point, you can't even be angry at this point. You just feel nothing. You just feel numb.
I know. You just sort of look down and think, I did this.
What am I doing with my life?
Of course it went this way. Why would it not?
It's almost like they've embraced grief.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of the same kind of feeling that, say like after a general election, when a party that you quite like has an incredibly terrible showing, and you just sort of realise everything that means, and you stay up until 6:30 drinking.
Anyway, it's supposed to be a light-hearted podcast. Probably move on. In any episode of The Thick of It, there are the same aspects that make the show such a classic. In this section of the podcast, we will dissect them with their own segments and awards. In any episode of The Thick of It, there are always lines that could only ever be uttered by Mr. Malcolm F. Tucker. So in this segment, we will be going over the many Tuckerisms of this episode. Adam, what Tuckerisms have you got?
Okay, well, so I wanted to start. The first time we actually hear about Malcolm in the episode, we don't even hear him. He's on the phone, right? And Terry just walks in. She's clearly talking about this journalist to Malcolm. And you just hear her say, no, you're right. She's obviously talking to Malcolm. You're right. No, he is a prick. No, yep. Rip his ball sack off. Yeah. I will do that. Only Malcolm Tucker.
I feel like that's even better through the prism of Terry. It makes it sound just like normal dog's body work.
Exactly. The thing is, Malcolm's not even doing it to talk to Hugh or the journalist. He's talking to Terry. It's almost like ephemeral, isn't it?
I wonder what Terry's supposed to do with that information.
Well, exactly. Did he tell her to tell Hugh? to rip this journalist Paul sack off.
Is it just like him venting to Terry, or is Terry supposed to do some PR business to try and undermine him?
Exactly. Out comes the letter opener. He thinks, right, no, yeah, I will. I've done it before.
I take a really dark turn for this series. I was like sort of 1984 style.
If Malcolm could get away with it, he would be a big fan of the old castration, wouldn't he, for errant journalists?
I'm sure he would, absolutely.
Well, again, when they're talking about that journalist, they're talking about Hugh being a stitch-up. They're talking about Hugh being a victim of a media stitch-up. And again, it's just the moment where he's talking about Cliff Lawton, obviously the outgoing DOSA secretary, and this journalist who's obviously done a hit piece on Hugh as a favour to Cliff. And of course, you get this offhanded line from Malcolm. You go, it's personal. That is backslapping. It's borderline homoerotic. And you have been the victim of a media stitch-up. Again, just that kind of moment. You're talking about the bromance between two men, the journalist and the politician.
Yeah, I had one from that same rant.
Oh, yeah.
And it was he and Hewitt are as tight as arse cheeks.
Are they? Well, I don't know, but that's what we're telling everyone.
I think tight as arse cheeks is weirdly non-descriptive whilst being disgusting, which I think is what makes a good Tuckerism.
Absolutely, yeah. You can imagine it, but you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
But you get the meaning. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I feel like also one of the tellings of good Tuckerism is over-explaining something. You just say they're good friends rather than saying they're tight as arse cheeks.
Absolutely. I think when Peter Capaldi has to take a breath at the end of his sentence, something gold has come out of his mouth.
Absolutely,
yeah. A couple of the classic lines, just again from Tucker. They're talking about the popularity of this policy. Oh, I can feel a stiffy in the post. Just who else could say that line?
What's he talking about there?
He's talking about here in the focus group having a 94% approval rating for this policy.
A stiffy in the post. What does that mean?
I don't know. I think that means
an erection 3 letterbox is what I've got from it.
Right, yeah. I can see where you'd get that from. Actually, that's a good line to sort of try and deconstruct, isn't it?
Yeah. We can write whole essays on this line.
Exactly. I mean, I've got a stiffy in the post.
If you have an interpretation of this line, please write in.
Just insert the Downing Street switchboard number.
Nope. The old Blue Peter music.
Oh, all right. What else have we got? You got Glenn. He says, "Well, my gut reaction is that we're going to get torn apart. This policy is shit." You go, well, as substantial as they are, they've been outvoted. We're going ahead with the policy. Brutal.
Feels like a rap battle.
Oh,
sit down.
Brutal from Mr. Malcolm Tucker. All you need there is, Yo Mama's guts are so big.
We just talk about Glenn's mum as well. What did the foul mother would say?
Yes. Yeah. No, yeah. We will come back to that line, I think. What else we got? We got when they're talking about the papers in the morning, when they're trying to get Angela Heaney's story out. You go, well, yeah, of course, yeah. We'll piss all over Simon Hewitt's cornflakes. Seamus only metaphorically, obviously. I don't know. Malcolm Tucker strikes me as the kind of man who would like to piss on your cereal if you'd wronged him.
Yeah. I don't think he'd go around pissing on normal people's cereals.
No, not in this series anyway.
No.
But a couple of other series. The words Tim from Ruislip spring to mind. But
little teaser there.
oh, little tease.
Someone's going for a Twix Cinemac universe now.
We're doing a post-credit scene where I'm talking about.
We're not bringing Tim from Ruislip's origin story in the next episode.
I see it. Yeah, post-credit scene where you hear Tim from Ruislip come in. Fine, I'll do it myself. That's it for me for the Tuckerisms.
I had 2 short ones.
Absolutely.
A packet of bollocks.
Nice.
Which I thought was ridiculous and therefore funny.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Also, it made me think of like Richmond sausages, but instead of sausages, bollocks. Yeah.
Sort of like Wall's meatballs then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
I remember when those were things. Yeah.
But with bollocks were things.
No,
Wall's meatballs. Who remembers bollocks?
They're right in the 70s, weren't they? But now.
And I also had dick the size of a bookie Spyro.
Yes, I've got that somewhere. Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like a sort of Bernard Manning joke, or Jimmy Carr put down.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm glad you put Jimmy Carr in there. We don't have to go back to the northern accent.
No, I don't want to lose any listeners we have in the north.
Yeah, definitely.
Armando Iannucci, the writer for The Thick of It, had previously written one of the greatest British comedy characters of all time, Mr. Alan Partridge. And so in this segment, we'll be going over the many Alan Partridge moments in this episode. The more I watch this, the more I feel like Hugh Abbott is just Alan Partridge.
Yeah, do you know what? I was about to say the same thing. The Alan Partridge running through, maybe it's because of the cultural zeitgeist subplot running through it, but the number of Alan Partridge moments from Hugh is just incredible. And I loved it. I loved that.
It does feel like Hugh Abbott is Alan Partridge if he ever held any power. I think one of the most lovely things about Alan Partridge was that he was so opinionated and he was so powerless, losing all of his TV series and having a slot on Norfolk Digital at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Bless, yeah. In fact, this episode even starts with a reference to Radio Norfolk, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With the show cancelled because it clashed with the 2-minute silence. Good call, Terry. It's something useful that she's done. Well, the first one I've got, we've already covered. It was Glenn block booking the meeting room.
Yeah.
This is just us, but in a larger room. Yeah, I've block booked the 14 meeting rooms. What else? Oh, no, to be fair, my second one is also another one of Glenn's. When they're talking about trying to get the policy up and running, whatever policy that may be, and they're just spitballing. You just sort of, Glenn turns around, just sort of goes, well, people are afraid of youths. I am.
That's a very Partridge thing to say. But
It's a Partridge thing to say, and I think it very much reflects. Do you remember
does he also pronounce youths as youths?
Yeah, youths. It very much reflects sort of like the worries of a 2005 world.
Oh, I hate those youths.
Yeah. Also, what policy are they going to come up with on the hoop to get rid of youths?
National service? I mean, a policy.
No, to be fair, that is true. The returning of national service is a policy.
The way Glenn's acting in this episode, I would be surprised if he came up with it.
I want to say he curtails the worst of people's excesses. I don't know, maybe we'll get onto it at the end. It's just, yeah, we'll get into it. What else we got after the old youth here of comedy? Now we got onto Hugh Abbott's dreadful attempt at trying to navigate the cultural zeitgeist. You and Malcolm starts just first trying to test him on his cultural knowledge. And again, this does date it a bit, because, well, who's the only gay in the village? Hugh Abbott. Well, he thinks about it for a minute. He's giving it a think. Eddie Grundy. I don't think he's got children. And then he turns around and goes, well, to be fair now, a lot of them do.
I had the same one.
That is such a good bit, isn't it?
Side note, I have no idea who Eddie Grundy is.
Me neither. Honestly, the only Grundy I've ever heard of is Solomon Grundy, thanks to Batman. That's yeah. And I don't think Solomon Grundy really cares about sexual orientation, I have to say.
No, I don't think so. He's very liberal in that way, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, the first time that Mary comes in for the one-on-one focus group, again, just another throwaway line from Hugh Abbott when they get up to leave. He's clearly not that into it. He just gets up and he goes, yeah, good luck with the single mum thing. And then swans off. And then my last Alan Partridge bit, a moment of emotion and a moment of humanity from Hugh that's so pathetic you have to laugh, is when he's talking to Malcolm about how Malcolm seems to be so up to date with culture and the social affairs of the world, or the country, rather. And Hugh Abbott, in a moment of pure vulnerability, just turns to Malcolm and goes, "Don't you ever get lonely?"
Yeah.
And then Malcolm turns around and goes, "No!"
Not only is that a line that Alan Partridge might say, I feel like it's a line that Alan Partridge has said.
I think so, yeah.
Like Alan Partridge, there's a bit where he's talking to Michael. Says, have you ever thought that suicide's the answer? And he goes, yeah, sometimes, yeah. Really, when? I want to see you looking all depressed. And I said, no, not me.
Exactly. Except in the thick of it, Malcolm looks at Hugh as if he's just, I don't know, asked him if he kills babies for fun.
Probably not the right joke to make about Chris Langham.
Context is everything.
I've got occasionally I take a dump. And I think, no, I'm not going to read the newspaper. This is just for me. This is my treat.
Sometimes I think, no, I'm not going to read the New Statesman. It's just for me. It really is my treat.
I don't understand that being a treat. Surely having a dump while on your phone or whatever is more of a treat than just having a dump.
I don't know, maybe it's just, a couple of minutes he can be by himself.
Yeah, you can do that reading the New Statesman. You can enjoy that.
Yeah, but sometimes, don't just concentrate. Just sit there with your thoughts and yourself. I don't like it. Trying to get into the mind of Hugh Abbott is an interesting exercise.
I've also got a nice quick one.
Yeah.
Which is, we'll kill out all the meat. Atkins government.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Atkins, do you remember the Atkins diet?
Yeah, I remember that being advertised on the TV.
Ages ago.
That was sort of how Weight Watchers diet, eat light stuff, right?
I don't know what happened to that. I think just. I know Pete Longer do it now in lockdown because eating is one of the 3 things you do every day: eat, sleep, and watch Netflix. Occasionally, occasionally have a dump.
And that really is my treat. But yeah, keep it upbeat. Keep it upbeat.
Oh, sorry.
No, to be fair, there is something else you can do. You can listen to podcasts.
You can also listen to this podcast and rate it 5 stars. Just a thought, if you like it.
Just a thought. To be fair, if you've made it this far, props to you. And
also props to you for that seamless segue.
Appreciate it. I think I've earned the 5 stars this time.
You've definitely eaten your £5 for this episode.
£5? I thought I was just going to get tea tomorrow. Oh my god.
Well, your tea would have been £6, so I'm going to save money this way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see how it is.
I feel like you can't be trusted with the money yourself, so I'm going to get you food.
It's like being on a podcast run by the Tory government.
Joe Rogan, look out. I've also got, I think this is...
I don't think we're going to be covering topics like how to end racism anytime.
We could do it. We'll do it now. Adam, how would you personally end racism?
I need a couple more of these, I think. I need a couple more drinks. But you get me 9 in. I'm sure I've got plenty to say.
Oh, typical politician always ducking out here.
Yeah, typical politician.
People want to know how you're going to end racism.
Next time Keir Starmer's at PMQs, I don't want him to ask a question. I just want him to down shots and then get up and complain. Another thing about this, test and trace. Who the fuck even is it?
I'm not hard on you on the post, but you're a nice guy.
You're all right, you are.
Okay, so call me over.
You got Siggy.
You're alone.
To be fair, I would not be surprised if Parliament had its own smoking area filled with drunk Tory politicians all the time.
I don't know if they have a smoking area or just smoke normally into babies' faces.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we know that the Senate does have as a bit for Tory politicians to get drunk, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even after the alcohol ban.
Not anymore. I've also got. I think this is just straight out of the Alan Partridge playbook.
Absolutely, yeah.
What? You haven't heard it yet?
No, I'm encouraging you.
Oh, I appreciate the encouragement. I do this
Breathe.
It's like with fuck. It's Ollie says you were the best of our focus groupies. Not groupies. Not those sort of groupies.
Twoies. Yeah.
I didn't call you a slag. I meant you focus group.
You're absolutely right. Hugh Abbott in this essentially does turn into Alan Partridge.
I feel that is proper Alan Partridge butting in to overcorrect something you never need to correct in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Make everyone feel a bit more awkward. To be fair, there is a noise that Hugh Abbott makes that I also sort of thought of Alan Partridge with. It's when he's sort of trying to trick Malcolm into thinking that he has actually watched the Zeitgeist tape.
I did write that down as well.
Me too. I thought we'll bring it up when he's doing the EastEnders theme. Oh yeah, no, absolutely EastEnders. Bom 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 bom.
What I don't understand about that is why would you go for it?
Well, he thought, fuck it, I'll give it a go, didn't he?
The arrogance of him is going, I'm going to nail this. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, it gives the game away instantly, doesn't it?
As soon as he says, what was that? He goes, yeah, I haven't watched it. Why do you say that? Why do you have a go at it?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's Alan Partridge all over, and it makes some sort of facsimile attempt to try and trick Malcolm, and then as soon as that just completely falls flat on his ass, I haven't watched it.
In any thick of it episode, one of the highlights is the meltdowns, which is why we will now be awarding the Chernobyl Award for the best meltdown. Adam, what's your candidate for the best meltdown?
For the best meltdown, we've already talked about it. It's got to be Hugh hiding in the cupboard.
Hugh hiding in the cupboard. I mean, that is very good.
That is a brilliant moment. You see him sort of walk into that cupboard. He doesn't really know which way to turn afterwards.
He gives the saddest no, I think, ever. It's quite a sad scene all over, but that no is the height of the sadness.
It really is.
In that moment, he is just a man who doesn't want to leave the cupboard.
He really is. Get out of the cupboard, Hugh.
No. It's quite a sad scene when you go back and watch it.
Well, yeah, come on, we've got to sort this out. And then you see him sort of peer around the side of these chairs.
If you put some sad music under it in a sort of grainy filter, that could be a Ken Loach film.
Yeah. The Minister Who Tried.
Oh, God. Getting me right in the field. Oscar nominated.
Can we get Leonardo DiCaprio in to play the Minister?
Do you want Leonardo DiCaprio to play Hugh Abbott?
We've had the film, haven't we? But imagine that with a panned Hollywood cast.
Who would you have as Hugh Abbott if you could cast anyone?
Who are we looking for? We're looking for someone awkward.
I think he would be less awkward because he's going to Hollywood.
You
know, put it through the Hollywood filter as it goes.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be Michael Douglas.
Okay, I see. A veteran of the political thriller.
Got a little bit of Duggo.
Oh, I don't know. I completely drawn a blank on Hollywood actors full stop, let alone actors would be good for Hugh Abbott. Oh, Tom Hanks.
Oh, Tom Hanks would be good too.
Tom Hanks would be an interesting one, yeah. Get him into playing Hugh Abbott.
I feel like Hugh's main problem with this, he's the main character, that he's not very likable.
Yeah.
Whereas Tom Hanks is, I think they've done experiments, it's genetically impossible to not like Tom Hanks.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even COVID realised that it couldn't take someone like Tom Hanks. So, yeah, you can imagine him saying that kind of no, can't you?
Yeah.
No.
No, I don't want to leave the cupboard.
Come on, we've got to sort this out, Hugh. You see him poke around the corner.
Just go up to the club and say, look at me. I am the minister now.
Tom Hanks seizes power in a coup.
I'd watch that.
Oh, well, yeah.
I want this to be a film.
Honestly, Tom Hanks in Parliament. That'd be a good one.
That'd be interesting, yeah, that much.
In standing up shouting at the Prime Minister. Has Tom Hanks ever done a British accent in the film?
Must have done, surely. Can't think one off the top of my head, but...
Me neither. He's played politicians before, I think.
I don't think so. I don't think he's ever been British, no.
Well, there you go, new role for you. If he's looking for a bit of career advice.
You have it?
Yeah. Revive the thick of it, Tom. Hanks.
I didn't assume it's wrong for me.
Well, you never know. Well, we're looking for a job. Armando Iannucci's interested.
I think we can prove that we can write the greatest British sitcom of all time. I think that's evident.
Starting point, Tom Hanks and Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
I mean, are they doing much these days?
I've got a sort of side contender first. So I feel like
Okay.
an honourable mention as it was.
Absolutely.
And it's for Malcolm Tucker's "For fuck's sake" that he says after Mary's been called into the meeting. That is such a good "for fuck's sake." It's one of the best I've ever used.
Absolutely. You can see Malcolm's it's that temper again.
The fury in it, just the absolute... It feels hopeless as well. It's angry. It's also scary at the same time.
Yeah, it's the venom that's not particularly aimed at anyone. He's just trying to get it out. Fuck's sake.
I feel that's worth a mention. But my Chernobyl award goes to Ollie Reader and his "I'm Geoff Average" rant.
Oh, no, yeah, that is a thing. As sparked by Glenn Cullen.
Well, I've given it the award because I feel like it comes out of nowhere and it's not really set up by anything. And saying, oh, well, what do we even do for focus groups? This conversation. What? Oh, yeah, because everything's saying so, Glenn. Huh? You fucking prick.
I'm Geoff Average. I'm just an average bloke. I work in IT, and I'll pop a few pills.
I'll do a bit of DJ.
I'll spare cash.
I've written down what... This is a bit problematic, as it were. I've written down what he's talking about. And Geoff Average works in IT, does a bit of DJing, is a single mum, does a bit of karaoke. I understand all those being average. And then I like domestic violence.
Where does that even come from?
I have no idea. Is he
suggesting from films or?
I don't know. I didn't think that the average person enjoyed domestic violence. In which case, we really are fucked as a species.
And not reflected by our current Prime Minister.
Yeah, absolutely unrepresented by our current Prime Minister, because our current Prime Minister has never domestically abused his girlfriend.
Exactly. I don't know if we can keep that in.
It's fine if we say he definitely hasn't hit his girlfriend. Definitely hasn't done it.
No, actually, that's the same for all the other Tory MPs.
Yeah, no Tory MP has ever hit their wife. And Mark Francois isn't a rapist. There you go. That we're covered. It's fine.
That's nice to see him back in Parliament after a while, isn't it?
I don't know what's happened to him.
I know he took a bit of a break.
Come back, Saw. Hey. Hide your wife and your children. But yeah, so my Chernobyl award goes to that. I feel like I think that's the most animated we've seen Ollie so far. I feel almost the most animated we've seen the whole thing.
Yeah, it's very spontaneous. You can sort of, he goes for it. I'd be very interested to know whether that was improvised by Chris Addison or not.
It does feel like very personal. Like they've attacked him, something that's so intrinsic to his being, he gets really annoyed by it. It's very visceral. It's like he's out like that.
Yeah, definitely. There's no sort of hesitation with it. He's just out.
Last time I got as annoyed as him was when some English people were cheering in the pub after Wales just got defeated. 2020, England-Wales. One of the key components in any episode of The Thick of It is the bullying. So we will now be giving out the Priti Patel Award for biggest bullying moment. Adam, what does your Priti Patel Award go to?
So for the bullying moment, honestly, there are a lot of lines that I felt sort of crossed over. But for the bullying moment that I think deserves the Priti Patel Award, I think I would go for the article written about you at the start. Yeah. That was an interesting one because an article that's so densely packed with those kind of lines. The political equivalent to a house wine at a suburban Indian restaurant, disconnected to the point of autism. I mean, that's been written in a major newspaper about one man.
It's not brilliant, is it?
No, it's not brilliant. And I'm pretty sure if you got access to some Home Office internal memos, you might find out why that head civil servant left. Maybe things similar to that. I don't know. Maybe things a bit worse. I don't know who they'd be connected to, obviously, especially after that official inquiry. Yeah, that is that's where my Home Secretary award is going.
I would offer up as a bit of a devil's advocate
Go for it.
that Hugh has kind of signed up for this life. When you're a minister, you expect people to take pot shots at you.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not saying that is the most unjustified line of the episode.
I'm just using that as a way to justify my Prick We Tell award.
Well, I mean,
I think mine's more predictable. I've given it to the whole scene where they bring Mary in.
well, yeah. I mean, no, yeah, that is also really good.
I think it's weird because at the start of it, it's almost like doing a good cop, bad cop. Because Mary comes in and he goes, "How you doing?" And Ollie's like that as well, saying, "Hi, Mary, you're right." And then Malcolm like yells at her really loudly, really scarily. She goes, "What the fuck was that?" And Hugh goes, "No, it's all right, it's fine." And then it breaks down when Mary mentions the children, and Hugh becomes the bad cop as well.
Yeah, and you just, well, fuck it, I'll join in then.
Yeah,
that is a really good bullying moment.
I feel like this is more of a bullying moment because she's not in this life, to put it in Scorsese terms, as it were. She's not
technical terms.
She's not fair game, and then she starts crying.
Yeah, they really do go for it. So does Hugh.
If in that moment you replace Malcolm with Priti Patel, no one would notice. I do feel like this is definitely one of the most not on moments it was in the series, bringing in some poor woman in the dead of night to yell at her until she cries. Malcolm really breaks her down because Hugh says it's going to be okay, and he goes, "No, it's not going to be okay." I feel that's really not odd. I know Malcolm's a bastard, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they do go for it. I think, to be fair, after that whole scene, they do put her through the ringer, but then you get Ollie trying to essentially bribe her with a photo shoot.
I do like Mary comes back, but in that moment, she's completely broken down by Malcolm.
Yeah, she's not happy, is she?
But that's where my Priti Patel goes to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There's a couple of good bullying moments in it.
And in this second episode of Going for a Twix podcast, we are very excited to introduce a brand new segment, Your Night Out, as told by Lines from the Thick of It. I know we're all missing nights out at the moment, so we thought we'd do our best to bring the joy back through the thick of it.
You ready to wistfully turn your minds back to, this time last year?
The good old days. It's now before times.
The before times.
So this line is picked from Malcolm's tirade to Mary, and it's, "Do you just want to think about what's going to happen to you tomorrow?" I feel like this is a thing my rational brain says to me every time when I'm ordering Jaeger bombs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember those.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've also got, how fucked am I? So I'm 24% fucked according to you, but I'm 120% fucked according to you.
Oh, that's such a good moment. What do you think? Is that pre's or is that when you're actually out?
For me, that is trying to get into the nightclub and working out if the bouncer won't let you in because you're too drunk.
Oh, really? Because I've never been in that sort of situation. Have you ever been denied entry?
I'm a bit of a wild child. What can I say? So I'm going to set the scene.
Okay.
Imagine it. It's you and I and say George, our friend George.
Yeah.
We're going on a night out. We're in a nightclub. We're having a good time. We're doing the best dancing ever seen, and no one can disprove that who listens to this podcast.
Well, absolutely.
I sit next to the bog for a couple of seconds, and George says to you, "Hey, do you want to get another round of Jaeger bombs?" And you have to say back to George, "I'm going to talk to Tom about green light in this." I come back, says, "You want to go on Jaeger bombs?" I go, "Yeah," and we're off.
No, to be fair, yeah, absolutely. God, for a couple of seconds there, I was back in the copper rooms.
Oh.
No, yeah, absolutely. A really good line. Because, when you get to that sort of level, getting more drinks in, especially for the group, is a whole process. The one I've got, I think it's got a couple of uses on a night out.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can sort of fill in where I think it would go. But it's Glenn trying to absolve himself and Hugh of any responsibility with the Mary thing. When he turns around to Hugh, he says, "We've been lied to. We've been abused. We are the victims of abuse."
I don't feel like that's the best night out when you're saying that, though, is it?
No, I think when your mate's got somewhere that he really wants to go, you turn up, it's a bit shit.
Or if you go somewhere, your mate says, "Oh, I'll go here." You go there, and the prices are ridiculous.
Yeah, special offer on tonight.
Sorry, a whiskey and coke is £7. I'm sorry, what? I swear I heard you just say £7. Yeah, we've all been there.
Oh, well, exactly. Or this will be when someone tells you that you have to queue to get in.
But to be fair, I don't think you have to be told that. You can just look at the queue. If you see the queue and think, I don't think I need to queue. Me, Adam Taylor, I don't queue. And lastly, I've got, this is a bucket of shit. If someone throws shit at us, we throw shit back at them. We start a shit fight. We throw so much shit, they can't pick up shit, they can't throw shit, they can't do shit. But that's only for a night out in Newcastle.
Yeah, it's just lying on the street there, isn't it? No, that is top swearing from Glenn, to be fair.
Top swearing. In any episode of The Thick of It, a single mistake leads to a complete fuck up. So in this segment, we will be giving out the O.J. Simpson Award for Who's to Blame. Adam, who's to blame?
Well, for this episode, I think it's a bit less black and white than it was the last episode.
You can definitely blame it on a few people, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I want to say for this one, I think I'd give the award to Ollie.
To Ollie, why?
Yeah. I just don't think he did his due diligence in getting someone in who I assume he thought was an actual focus group member, without realising that she was just an actress.
I didn't seem very surprised when he found out she was an actress, though, so he didn't really care.
Well, no, he didn't really care, but he didn't realise the sort of crisis that it would spark in the department, trying to sort of get behind public opinion. I think that is Malcolm's job. He's just trying to essentially place the papers as public.
I suppose he did hype up Mary quite a lot with the tape and saying she is amazing. It only matters what she says.
Yeah, I think if Ollie wasn't quite so reckless in trying to get his policy, the one that was sort of enacted to get ahead of this article, well then that would have been crisis averted.
It also wouldn't surprise me if Ollie had manipulated the focus group in some way.
Yeah, you wouldn't put it past him, would you?
I've gone for Malcolm again.
Okay, I do also have Malcolm written here.
You can make a very easy case for Malcolm. If you go straight from Mary's an actress to she's the snitch for Hewitt, and therefore we need to leak it. I mean, Mr. Fantastic would be proud of that stretch. She's an actress. Give it to Angela Heaney. Tell everyone how much of a twat we are.
No, yeah, absolutely.
He's moving a million miles an hour. He needs to slow down sometimes.
I think just in that case, though, he's just trying to do his job the best he can, which is essentially press fuckery.
If I feel like his job doesn't involve due diligence or care, it's just reactionary at that point. He's not proactive, he's reactive at that point.
To be clear, I think that's his job a lot of the time, to just sort of react to what the press is going to print.
But why is he so bad at it in this episode then?
It just doesn't work out for him.
He makes a really snap decision and it blows up in his face.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, his fuck up is another in a series of fuck ups.
Yes, I think you could say that Malcolm's had another glass of Tropicana there. This is his second OJ.
How long have you been working on that one?
I'll be honest, about an hour before we start recording.
Nice.
That was Going for a Twix. Join us next time when we go without the tie. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to share it with friends, loved ones, fellow swearing enthusiasts and strangers. And until next time, fuckety bye.